This whiskey sour, amateur hour. This isn't a Green Day video. We were drinking whiskey sours mentioned on Uno. Alright, I am a millennial and I've never listened to Paramore until now. Will I like it? Will I barf? Been drinking a lot of whiskey sour. The title track by Paramore is an aggressive yet subdued song with anger bubbling just above the surface. It's a piece of music that at first listen can seem a little dry, a little simple, but there's more to it than you might think. It's got a 90s alternative rock feel that I love, blended underneath the 80s melody of Blondie, and I quite like it. It's funky. That's why. The new is probably more akin to what Paramore fans are used to, although like I said earlier, I've never really listened to Paramore before. When I was supposed to be listening to Paramore back, I guess in the 2007 era, I was obsessively trying to figure out the next move by Green Day. Like, what the heck were Green Day going to do following American Idiot? So maybe Paramore fans like you can forgive me for that. It's, American Idiot, man. Anyway, the collective of hearts are breaking like a grenade, and I really like the sonic personality that is bleeding through on the news. It's a much stronger track than the title track, in my opinion. Now, Running Out of Time recoils in a good way back to the 1980s, and it's an early bird of a Paramore fan that said this about Running Out of Time. This is the comment section of the YouTube video. You can hear all three members equally in this album. This is really their most collaborative project yet, which is interesting. I do have to lean forward, but that is a very interesting comment. It's a very interesting observation about This Is Why. Shout out to California Dreamin' 696. I hope you're okay with me mentioning you in the video. Thank you, you wonderful human. I really am digging this Paramore band so far. Blondie! We mentioned Blondie already. Blondie is the obvious comparison for this album, right? There might be another one later. We'll get to that at the end of the video. Kayesta Kamama is a head bopper, and by the time this album or project is through, and I definitely just right at the beginning of this record, I do feel like I've been missing out by not participating in the Paramore stuff. I need to listen to more Paramore in my journey to hear every song ever. All right, I'm dancing in my undies. This is good. I like what I'm hearing so far. Big Man, Little Dignity was an interesting title. Starts with horns and jazzy sounds on the Glockenspiels, the multiple Glockenspiels. We'll get on that later too. Leading into the Yeah Yeah Yeahs electric shreddage riffage, and I'm so smooth on my head, and yet I can't get away with giving this album a bad review, can I? Can I? I don't have integrity, but man, I could rate this album however I want to. You know what I'm saying? And you will find out at the end of the video if I'll really like this or if I'm just drunkenly joshing. This Is Why certainly it shifts gears in between each song enough that You First continues. What was I trying to say there? This Is Why certainly shifts gears enough between each track, and You First continues rather than being first. I guess I was first. Hallie Whoever shines here with her body hanging over a pond of musical body that feels like a tease. We're all bad guys, and I was trying to be with that metaphor right there. Japanese flair and some xylophones and glockenspiels intersect the intro of Figure 8, which is perhaps one of the strongest songs on the record. Certainly the strongest guitar riff on this guitar-centric album, and also Glockenspiel-centric album. Halle Whoever is spinning within the title, within the figure 8, and it's easy to relate to this cyclical revolution radio pattern that was only being kind. If you like rock guitars, listen to figure 8 first. This one is really rocking, and it's kind of got a crazy vocal pattern that breaks away from the Blondie isms, which is fantastic. Pour that in your ear hole. Liar is the slower and thus less popular song on the record. I'm going to tell you a little bit about it. You know what I'm saying when I wave my hand, you just got to pour it in your ear hole. That's all you got to do. I scoured the lyrics, the beautiful lyrics. It's got really, really good lyrics. I scoured them for a connective thread for my own personal clothing, to my own man life, and couldn't really find it. I guess I'm not a liar, and that's all right. Love isn't an easy thing to admit, and I kind of like that song too. If that makes 0 sense, that's exactly what I was going for there. I guess this album is compartmentalized. Haley and company have compartmentalized its sonic blast, because the slower pieces are clumped together towards the end of the record. Crave does blast into a Cranberry style jam or a Cranberries melody, and it's much easier to rock out to this one than the sluggish Liar. Again, Liar is pretty darn good, even though I couldn't relate to it. Thick Skull continues the slow back end of this record. Ooh, that back end. But just like Liar before it, it builds up nicely from the less produced Liar and partners with Crave as the person in question is dragged out before Halle Whoever. Is it Williams? To be judged in finality, at least in terms of the narrative of the record. Her fingers are fingers, and it looks like she has been caught red-handed. But that's not where we end this review, no. I got Halloween stuff. Paramore have channeled their inner Block Party and Blondie, a combination of, it's like Blondie Party, and set up multiple Glockenspiels to craft something unique in the world of 2023 pop punk music, or whatever the heck Paramore are now. This isn't where the video ends either. My friends, it's where I give Paramore's This Is Why. This is my first Paramore record, so we got to get a little intense with this. I think I'm going to have to get intense, guys. This Is Where is the first time that I've really listened to a Paramore record in its entirety. So I'm going to have to give it something like just crazy. I am giving Paramore's This Is Why a 4.6 out of 5. What happened with the 0.4 out of my score? Some of the Glockenspiel notes were a little bit off.